Where almost every AI effort fails the first few times around is on the ingredients, right? When you put water in a blender and you expect to turn it into soup, like making something from nothing, it never happens. Here's why. We think of AI as the thing that we're trying to do, but we forget what goes into it, and that's data. Right? Data is to AI, this is for everyone who loves the SATs, data is to AI as ingredients are to cooking. Data is to AI as ingredients are to cooking, which means if you have bad ingredients, right? I don't care how expensive the blender is or how good a chef you are, if the ingredients are spoiled, you're not making edible food, right? If you put sand in the blender because you don't have flour, again, I don't care how cool the blender is, you're not making anything that's going to be edible, right? Your ingredients are bad, they're wrong, they go in, they come out blended. AI is exactly the same. You put bad data in, guess what you're getting? Bad models out. You put in wrong data or corrupted data or no data at all, and we expect this magic box to do this, when in reality, no, that's not what's going to happen. We're just going to get blended up stuff out of our models. So how do we fix this? We fix this with a process that an astonishing number of companies completely skip. Now, here's where this is going to get challenging. A lot of vendors, because they own the software, part of this process is their responsibility, right? So if you hire a vendor to implement your machine learning, this process has to be part of their work and your work, and very often that does not happen. And the process is called exploratory data analysis. The formal definition, and the one that I really like, comes from IBM, which says, exploratory data analysis, or EDA, is used by data scientists to analyze and investigate data sets and summarize their main characteristics, often employing data visualization methods. That's cool. The big important part is that big text. The main purpose of exploratory data analysis is to look at data before making any assumptions. The main purpose of exploratory data analysis is to look at data before making any assumptions. Now, this is where I'm going to get into some trouble. When you talk to a vendor and you say, hey, I want better attribution analysis, or I want better subject lines, or I want better content, you are making assumptions. You have made assumptions about the problem before you've looked at the data. Right? So you look at your blog and say, well, gosh, our blog, we're not getting enough traffic from Google. We need AI-generated content. How do you know? You haven't looked at the data yet. Right? You don't understand the scope of the problem. Imagine what it would be like, right, if you said, hey, you know what we're going to have for dinner tonight? We're going to have steak. We're going to have steak for dinner, right? But then you go and you look in your fridge, and there's a scrap of beef in there anywhere. Are you still having steak for dinner? The answer is no, right? You don't have the ingredients. Exploratory data analysis says, look in the fridge first, see what's in there, and say, okay, we're not having steak, but we found the ingredients to make good chicken noodle soup. So we're going to have that instead. By the way, one of my goals for this talk is to make you all hungry. So why, if this is so critical, why do so many AI projects skip this step? Part of it's governance, right? People don't have data or they don't know what to look for. Part of it's vendor integration. Again, we've got a lot of companies making a lot of promises, like, hey, this is the magic thing that's going to fix your woes. And part of it's our fault, because we've decided we want steak. And come hell or high water, we're going to serve something that looks like steak. Right? Or our executive stakeholders, pun not intended, have said this is what we're going to do. And as a result, we buy and build AI that does not have the right inputs, and nothing works. So what is this life cycle? What is this process? Again, we use fancy terms, but it really is just looking in your fridge. Right? What data do you have? What condition is it in, right? You open up your fridge and something smells really bad. You first need to look around, okay, what expired? And there's an 8-step process, right? And we're going to go through each of these 8 steps, but the 8-step process is pretty simple. What are you trying to do? How do you get the data? What are the characteristics of the data? Take a quick look at the data, make sure it fits our problem, prepare it, engineer it, and then deploy it. That's the exploratory data analysis process. Now, you can see if you're dealing with a vendor where this could break down, because the vendor is going to say, we're going to try and do all this for you. Well, a lot of it's like, okay, you can bring a personal chef into your house, but you still need to look in the fridge to make sure that you've got the ingredients.